Welcome to Wicked Shizuku's Reviews, bringing you a southern perspective on books, movies, music, and much, much more. Stick around for a while, you just might hear something wicked.
Hey friends, it's good to see you again. Thank you for joining Wicked Shizuku's Reviews. This is a makeup on a Thursday, and for this session I'm going to be reading a little bit of Gnostic Bible, the Lowell Offering, the Oedipus Cycle, and Nomad Love. So let's jump to this. Okay. Alright. I hope you like the new scenes. That's what I was getting up to while I was a little down and out. So you have new screens, and we can sit here and flip through these together. So we'll start out with Nomad Love, and I'll move these over. Alright. So, if you remember last time, our main character was born, Takanashi, in a very prose fashion chapters. Very short. We're already 4 chapters in, so that's where I will be resuming this time. Takanashi was born in an immense parchment of sand. Well before dark, the wind blew and the writing left by the passage of man and beast. They called this place the desert, and as it hasn't changed since, they continue to do so. The desert is beautiful, very. One day, Takanashi turned 12. His father, Yasuharu, watched him enter the tent and come to stand right next to him. "Tell me, father, where does the sun go when it's not shining? The wind when it's not blowing? The night when it's not there?" Yasuharu said nothing. He turned his back on his son, and just before going, not outside exactly, and yet no longer inside, he jerked his head lizard-like, signaling for the boy to follow. Shadowing his father's shadow, Takanashi watched him walk. That's all he did the entire time, watch him walk. He saw his father move away from the tent, pick up speed, practically running, go down a slope that wasn't there, walk some more, and slow to a stop, or next to a stop. Take some fresh steps, resting on one leg, lightly advancing on the other, then slowing down in earnest before coming to a halt, and even saw him change course to skirt an imaginary trap. Stride forward and leap over an obstacle that didn't exist, stretching before them, and was nothing but sand, everywhere start to finish. This man, just out walking, seemed to be doing everything but walk. And the trail he left behind was like a wake of a dance, the ashes of a body in flames. There must be a word for that, a word to describe a man flitting over the desert's back like a reed bin, leaving letters on parchment, one after the other. Having reached the spot where he was aiming for, Maruf ground to a complete stop. Takfine as well. Right behind him, ground to a halt. His father said absolutely nothing. With a quick movement, animal-like, he squatted down and began to draw in the sand with his finger. Takfine squatted in turn, intently watching his father's finger. It ventured a few steps, shot forward, practically loose, took wing, lost its way, got stuck in the sand, and once worked itself free, made itself lighter, clawing the sand rather than biting it. Devised an alternate route, climbed to the end of a line, doubled back, slipped over the stroke he was drawing, stood up straight, and pecked its bill, 2 little seeds in the palm of a curve. A bird. Maruf's finger was like a bird, leaving tracks everywhere in its wake. Do you know what this is? A scorpion's dance, father. No, Takfine. The trail of a snake? No. Of a lizard? No, my son. It's the answer to your questions. Takfine, mute, still crouching. The tracks you see here are a kind of writing. A caravan threading its way. Look. The hand writes, and each letter leaves behind a memento of its journey. Our life, you see, is nothing but a series of tracks, constantly erased by time. Every sun sets, every wind grows calm. Every night has an end. Takfine, but a fortunate kingdom exists, where things are born forever present before us. This kingdom is the one you enter by the narrow, winding way of writing. Takfine's crouching, mute, searching for some gesture to say that he didn't know how to say with words. The drawing you see here is a woman. Those are her eyes, and those lines there tell us they're black, raven black, like plumage. For now, I have to add this to make her beautiful, or this to make her even more beautiful. Takfine, mute, watches his father's finger intently, and although there is nothing but sand before him, he imagines her, this woman, drawing all of her beauty from a fugitive finger. A murmur of wings. Maruf raised his eyes a moment, then dropped them to his son. If you want to keep this woman, you've got to write her in ink. That's the only way you'll find her again, forever young and beautiful as before. I'll show you how to cover white with black, like night the day. Father, this woman, if you leave this woman here, what if you just write her here on the sand? Maruf pretends to blow and smooths all trace away with the flat of his hand. Then the wind will carry off the woman and her beauty both. Her eyes will no longer be there to see. Takfine, in the dark of her eyes, will have nowhere to be left to light. And that's it for today's Nomad Love. So let's move on real quick, because you've already read or listened to Nomad Love before, so let's jump into Sophocles, the Oedipus cycle. So I'm going to do one scene out of this. Nothing spectacular or over the top. Let's see. We'll go over the prologue. Yeah, that seems like a good chunk to read for everybody today. Alright. Persons represented: Oedipus, a priest; Creon, Tyrannius, Iocosta, messenger, shepherd of Laos; second messenger, chorus of Theban elders. Scene: before the palace of Oedipus, king of Thebes. A central door and two lateral doors open onto a platform which runs the length of the facade. On the platform, right and left, are altars, and 3 steps lead down to the orchestra, or chorus ground. At the beginning of the actions, these steps are crowded by suppliants, who have brought branches and chaplets of olive leaves, and who lie in various attitudes of despair. Oedipus enters. Prologue. Oedipus. My children, generations of the living, in the line of Cadmos, nursed at his ancient hearth, why have you strewn yourselves before these altars in supplication with your boughs and garlands? The breath of incense rises from the city with a sound of prayers and lamentations. I would not have you speak through children. I would not have you speak through messengers, and therefore I have come myself to hear you. I, Oedipus, who bear the famous name, to a priest. You there, since you are the eldest in the company, speak for them all. Tell me what preys upon you, whether you come in dread or crave some blessing. Tell me, and never doubt that I will help you. In every way I can. I should be heartless, were I not moved to find you suppliant here. Priest, great Oedipus, O powerful king of Thebes, you see how all the ages of our people cling to your altar steps. Here are boys who can barely stand alone, and here are priests by weight of age, as I am a priest of God, and young men chosen from those yet unmarried. As for the others, all that multitude, they wait with the olive chaplets in the squares and the 2 shrines of Pallas, and where Apollo speaks, in the glowing embers. Your own eyes must tell you Thebes is tossed on a murdering sea, and cannot lift her head from the death surge. Eros consumes the buds and fruits of the earth. The herds are sick, children die unborn, and labor is vain. The god of plague and pyre raids like detestable lightning through the city. and all the house of Cadmos is laid waste, all emptied and all darkened. Death alone battens upon the misery of Thebes. You are not one of the immortal gods, we know, yet we have come to you to make our prayer. And as the man surest in mortal ways, and wisest in the ways of God, you saved us from the Sphinx, that flinty singer, and the tribute we paid to her for so long. Yet you were never better informed than we, nor could we teach you. It was some God breathed in you to set us free. Therefore, O mighty King, we turn to you. Find us our safety. Find us a remedy, whether by counsel of the gods or men. A king of wisdom tested in the past can act in a time of troubles, and act well. Noblest of men, restore life to your city. Think how all men call you liberator for your triumph so long ago. Ah, when your years of kinship are remembered, let them not say, we rose, but later fell. Keep the state from going down in the storm. Once, years ago, with happy augury, you brought us fortune. Be the same again. No man questions your power to rule the land, but rule over men, not over a dead city. Ships are only hulls, citadels are nothing, when no life moves in the empty passageways. Oedipus. Poor children. You may be sure I know all that you longed for in your coming here. I know that you are deathly sick, and yet, sick as you are, not one is as sick as I. Each of you suffers in himself alone. His anguish, not another's, but my spirit, groans for the city, for myself, for you. I was not sleeping. You are not waking me. No, I have been in tears for a long while, and in my restless thought walked many ways. In all my search, I found one helpful course, and that I have taken. I have sent Creon, son of Menorchius, brother of the queen, to Delphi, Apollo's place of revelation, to learn there, if he can, what act or pledge of mine may save the city. I have counted the days, and now, this very day, I am troubled, for he has overstayed his time. What is he doing? He has been gone too long. Yet whenever he comes back, I should do ill to scant whatever duty God reveals. Priest. It is a timely promise. At this instant, they tell me Creon is here. Oedipus. O Lord Apollo, may his news be fair and his face is radiant. Priest. It could not be otherwise. He is crowned with hay. The chaplet is thick with berries. Oedipus. We shall soon know. He is near enough to hear us now. Enter Creon. O Prince, brother, son of Menorchius, what answer do you bring us from the god? Creon. A strong one, I can tell you. Great afflictions will turn out well if they are taken well. Oedipus. What was the oracle? These vague words leave me still hanging between hope and fear. Creon. Is it your pleasure to hear me with all these gathered around us? I am prepared to speak, but should we not go in? Oedipus. Let them all hear it. It is not for them I suffer, more than for myself. Creon. Then I will tell you what I heard at Delphi, in plain words. The god commands us to expel from the land of Thebes An old defilement we are sheltering. It is a deathly thing, beyond cure. We must not let it feed upon us longer. Oedipus, what defilement? What shall we rid ourselves of it? Creon, by exile or death, blood for blood. It was murder that brought the plague wind upon the city. Oedipus, murder of whom? Surely the god has named him. Creon, my lord, long ago, Lowell was our king, before you came to govern us. Oedipus, I know. I learned of him from others. I never saw him. Creon, he was murdered, and Apollo commands us now to take revenge upon whoever killed him. Oedipus, upon whom? Where are they? Where shall we find a clue to solve that crime after so many years? Creon, here in this land, he said. If we make inquiry, we may touch things that otherwise escape us. Oedipus, tell me, was Lowell murdered in his house, or in the fields, or in some foreign country? Creon, he said he planned to make a pilgrimage. He did not come home again. Oedipus, and there was no one, no witness, no companion to tell what happened? Creon, they were all killed but one, and he got away, so frightened that he could remember one thing only. Oedipus, what was that one thing? One may be the key to everything that we resolve to use it. Creon, he said that a band of highwaymen attacked them, outnumbered them, and overwhelmed the king. Oedipus, strange that a highwayman should be so daring, unless some faction here bribed him to do it. Creon, we thought of that, but after Lowell's death, new troubles arose that we had no avenger. Oedipus, what troubles could prevent your hunting down the killers? Creon, the riddling Sphinx's song made us deaf to all mysteries but her own. Oedipus, then once more, I must bring what is dark to light. It is most fitting that Apollo shows, as you do, this conjunction for the dead. You shall see how I stand by you, as I should, to avenge the city and the city's gods. To avenge the city and the city's gods. And not as though it were some distant friend, but for my own sake, to be rid of evil. Whoever killed King Lowell might, who knows, decide at any moment to kill me as well. By avenging the murdered king, I protect myself. Come, then, my children, leave the altar steps. Lift up your olive boughs. One of you go and summon the people of Cadmos to gather here. I will do all that I can. You may tell them that. Exit a page. So, with the help of God, we shall be saved, or else indeed we are lost. Priest, let us arise, children. It was for this we came, and now the king has promised it himself. Phoebus has sent us an oracle. May he descend himself to save us and drive out the plague. Exeunt Oedipus and Creon into the palace by the central door. The priest and the supplements disperse right and left. After a short pause, the chorus enters the orchestra. Parados. Chorus. Strophe 1. What is God singing in his profound Delphi of gold and shadow. What oracle for Thebes, the sun-whipped city? Fear unjoints me, the roots of my heart tremble. Now I remember, O healer, your power, and wonder, will you send doom, like a sudden cloud, or weave it? Like nightfall of the past, speak, speak to us, issue of holy sound, dearest to our expectancy, be tender. Antistrophe 1. Let me pray to Athena. The immortal daughter of Zeus. And to Artemis her sister, who keeps her famous throne in the market's ring. And to Apollo, bowman at the far butts of heaven. O gods, descend, like 3 streams leap against the fires of our grief. The fires of darkness be swift to bring us rest, as in the old time from the brilliant house of air you step to save us, come again. Strophe 2. Now our afflictions have no end. Now all our stricken host lies down, and no man fights off death with his mind. The noble plowland bears no grain, and groaning mothers cannot bear. See how our lives like birds take wing, like sparks that fly when a fire soars to the shore of the god of evening. The plague burns on, it is pitiless. Though pallid children laden with death lie unwept in the stony ways, and old grey women by every path flock to other strand about the altars, there to strike their breaths and cry. Worship of Phoebus in wailing prayers be kind, God's golden child. Strophe 3. There are no swords in this attack by fire, no shields, but we are ringed with cries. Send the besieger plunging from our homes into the vast sea room of the Atlantic, or into the waves that foam eastward of Thrace, for the day ravages what the night spares. Destroy our enemy, Lord of thunder, let him be driven by lightning from heaven. Antistrophe 3. Phoebus Apollo stretched the sun's bowstring, that golden cord, until it sings for us, flashing arrows in heaven. Artemis huntress, race with flaring lights upon our mountains. O scarlet god, O golden banded brow, O Theban buckles in the storm of the Maenads. Enter Oedipus. Whirl upon death. That all the undying hate come with blinding torches, come in joy. So that is the parados and the prologue of the beginning of Oedipus Rex, which Rex means king. So roughly translated, Oedipus Rex means Oedipus the king. And they are presented with a mystery, and he because of a plague. So they want to be able to... One moment. I'm going to transition. Okay, so what they wanted to do is study the mystery of why there was a plague in the city, and they sent a messenger over to Delphi, the cave of Delphi, to suss out what this mystery was. They come back and they tell Oedipus, hey, you need to be able to find out who killed the previous king of Thrace, to be able to suss out this mystery. So they talk about the Sphinx. Well, the Sphinx, and the reason they're talking about her is because Oedipus was the person who solves the Sphinx riddle, which is if no one knows what the Sphinx's riddle is, it's what has 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening. And the answer is man. And Oedipus is the one that figured out the Sphinx's riddle and was able to defeat the Sphinx. That can actually be found, I believe, Edith Hamilton's mythology. I think there's a section in there where it has a part on Oedipus. But I'm going to take a break, and I will be back in a few moments. So, I will see you right back after the break. So I'm back. Hope you were able to get everything that you needed during your break. So I'm going to carry on. Going to carry on. Starting with the Gnostic Bible. As you can see, this is a revised edition, edited by Willis Barnstone, and Marvin Meyer. Is a Shambhala Boulder publication in 2009. We have our contents, and they have their acknowledgments. Okay, yeah, this is kind of important, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and read this. We would like to acknowledge several people and organizations that have helped in the production of this volume for a number of years. Chapman University has given generous encouragement to the scholarly research of Marvin Meyer on Gnostic texts by providing sabbatical leaves and financial assistance, and the work of this volume has been undertaken with the support of the Grizzett Chair in Bible and Christian Studies at Chapman University. Nathaniel Dosh and Paul Mirecki have contributed insightful introductions to Mandean and Manichaean literature in this volume, and Heather Turgeon has produced an English translation of the German version of Mother of Books. Lyndon Youngquist has provided essential computer expertise for formatting the text and preparing the bibliography. The editorial staff of Shambhala Publications has taken on this large publishing project with creativity and resourcefulness. Joel Segel has brought his editorial vision to the creation of the book and has been a model of patience and persistence and professionalism. Kendra Carlson Burroughs and Dave O'Neill have seen the manuscript successfully through press. Lastly, we recognize our colleagues, friends, and family members who have long endured our preoccupations and have offered us in many ways insights into wisdom and gnosis. William Barnstone and Marvin Meyer. The Gnostic Bible. Gnosticism, Gnostics, and the Gnostic Bible. Marvin Meyer. Know what is in front of your face, and what is hidden from you will be disclosed. Gospel of Thomas 5. The Gnostics were religious mystics who proclaimed gnosis, knowledge, as the way of salvation. To know oneself truly allowed Gnostic men and women to know God directly without any need for meditation of rabbis, priests, bishops, imams, or other religious officials. Religious officials who were not pleased with such freedom and independence condemned the Gnostics as heretical and a threat to the well-being and good order of organized religion. Heresiologists, heresy hunters of a bygone age who busied themselves exposing people judged dangerous to the Christian masses, fulminated against what they maintained was the falsehood of the Gnostics. Nonetheless, from the challenge of this perceived threat came much of the theological reflection that has characterized the intellectual history of the Christian Church. The historical roots of the Gnostics reach back into time of the Greeks, Romans, and Second Temple Jews. Some Gnostics were Jewish, other Greco-Roman, and many were Christian. There were Mandean Gnostics from Iraq and Iran, Mancunians from Europe, the Middle East, North Africa, and all the way to China. Islamic Gnostics in the Muslim world, and Cathars in Western Europe. The heyday of their influence extends from the 2nd century CE through the next several centuries. Their influence and their presence, some say, continue to the present day. Gnostics sought knowledge and wisdom from many different sources, and they accepted insight wherever it could be found. Like those who came before them, they embraced a personified wisdom, Sophia, understood variously and taken as the manifestation of divine insight to gain knowledge of the deep things of God. Gnostics read and studied diverse religious philosophical texts, in addition to Jewish sacred literature, Christian documents, and Greco-Roman religious and philosophical texts. Gnostics studied religious works from the Egyptians, Mesopotamians, Zoroastrians, Muslims, and Buddhists. All such sacred texts disclosed truths, and all were to be celebrated for their wisdom. Gnostics loved to explore who they were and from where they had come, and hence they read creation stories such as the opening chapters of Genesis with vigor and enthusiasm. Like others, they recognized that creation stories not only came to be described what was once upon a time, but also suggest what is now in our own world. The Gnostics carried to their reading a conviction that a story of creation was not a happy one. There is, they reasoned, some fundamentally wrong with the world. There is too much evil and pain and death in the world, and so there must have been something wrong with creation. Consequently, the Gnostics provided innovative and oftentimes disturbing interpretations of the creation stories they read. They concluded that a distinction, often a dualistic distinction, must be made between the transcendent spiritual deity who is surrounded by aeons and is all wisdom and light, and the creator of the world, who is at best incompetent and at worst malevolent. Yet through everything they maintained a spark of transcendent knowledge, wisdom, and light persists within people who are in the know. The transcendent deity is the source of that enlightened life and light. The meaning of creation drama, when properly understood, is that human beings, Gnostics in particular, derive their knowledge and light from the transcendent God, but through the mean-spirited actions of the demiurge, the creator of the world, they have been confined within this world. The Platonic aspects of this imagery are apparent. Humans in this world are imprisoned, asleep, drunken, fallen, ignorant, and they need to find themselves to be freed, awakened, made sober, raised, and enlightened. In other words, they need to return to Gnosis. This distinction between a transcendent God and the creator of the world is all the more remarkable when it is recalled that many of the earliest Gnostic thinkers who made such a distinction seem to have been Jews. What might have led them to such a conclusion that seems to fly in the face of Jewish monotheistic affirmations? Could it have been the experience of the political and social trauma of the time, culminating in the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE, which prompted serious reflection upon the problem of evil and stimulated the production of Jewish apocalyptic compositions? Could it have been the reflection of Hellenistic Jewish thinkers who were schooled in Judaica and Greek philosophy and recognized the deep philosophical and theological issues surrounding the transcendence of the high God and the need for cosmic intermediaries to be involved with this world? Could it have been that among the creative Jewish minds, representatives of the rich diversity of Judaism during the first centuries before and of the Common Era, who boldly addressed the real challenges of Jewish mysticism before Kabbalah, of the wisdom and the Chokmah of God, of world-wrenching apocalyptic, of theodicy and evil in the world? There were those who finally drew Gnostic conclusions. We know the names of some of these creative Jewish people. John the Baptizer, who initiated Jesus of Nazareth and preached apocalyptic ideas in the vicinity of the Qumran, where the Covenanters and the Essenes practiced their separatist ethical dualism. Simon Magus Dositheos, who lived about the same time as Jesus and advocated their ideas in Samaria and beyond. Philo of Alexandria, a Hellenistic Jewish thinker who provided Greek philosophical perspectives on the Hebrew Bible. Rabbi Elisha ben Abuya, nicknamed Ahir, who dabbled in dualism, and there were more. We shall encounter some of these Jewish thinkers in this volume. John the Baptizer becomes the Gnostic hero of the Mandeans. Jesus of the Christian Gnostics, Simon Magus may lurk in the background of several Gnostic texts. And Dositheos is said to be the compiler of the three stelas of Seth. Others, mostly unnamed, may have made similar contributions to the discussion of the profound question of the transcendent God and the demiurge. The role of the Gnostic savior or revealer is to awaken people who are under the spell of the demiurge, not as in the case of the Christ of the emerging Orthodox Church, to die for the salvation of people, to be a sacrifice for sins, or to rise from the dead on Easter. The Gnostic revealer discloses knowledge that frees and awakens people, that helps them recall who they are. When enlightened, Gnostics can live a life appropriate for those who know themselves and God. They can return back to the beginning when they were one with God. Such a life transcends that is mundane and mortal in the world and experiences the bliss of oneself with the divine, as the divine forethought or Christ. In the secret book of John says to a person, every person in the pit of the underworld, I am the forethought of pure light. I am the thought of the Virgin Spirit, who raises you to a place of honor. Arise, remember that you have heard, and trace your root, which is I, the compassionate. Gnostic literature includes a typical cast of spiritual or mythological figures and realms, but they are referred to by different names. Above and beyond all is the transcendent deity. In the book of Baruch, this deity is called the Good, and is identified with the fertility god Priapos. In the secret book of John and elsewhere, this deity is called the One, or Monad, as well as the invisible Spirit, Virgin Spirit, and Father. It is said that the One should not be confused with a god, since it is greater than a god. Elsewhere, the transcendent is called the boundless depth, majesty, light. Poimandres reveals itself as the light, mind, first god. Mandeans called this deity the great life and lord of greatness. Manichaeans, the father of greatness. Muslim mystics, the exalted king. Cathars, the invisible father, true god or good god. The glory of the transcendent is made manifest in a heavenly world of light, and in the classic literature of Gnostic wisdom is exalted word is often called a plethora or pleroma, or fullness of God. And the inhabitants of this world are called aeons, or eternal realms. The first of the aeons is usually the Divine Mother. For Simon Magus, she is Helena, or Enoia, and is thought of God in the secret book of John. She is Barbello, or Pronoia. The first thought or foremost of God. Thunder, in the text by that name, has certain similarities as well. Sometimes the transcendent Father and the Divine Mother produce a child in spiritual love. Often the aeons are identified as spiritual attributes of the divine are given names and are joined together as couples, spiritual lovers in the fullness of the divine. In the Mandean divine world, the great life is surrounded by other lives, and a host of Jordans, or heavenly waters. In the Manichaean kingdom of light, the Father of greatness is surrounded by 12 aeons and 144 aeons of aeons. And the Mother of books is exalted. King is surrounded by the seas, angels, lights, and colors. Among the aeons and manifestations of the divine is often a figure who represents the divine in this world, fallen from the light above, yet present as the light of God with us and in us. In many Gnostic texts, this is the figure called Sophia, or wisdom. As mentioned above, in Valentine's tradition, two forms of wisdom are evident: a higher wisdom called Sophia and a lower wisdom called Akamoth. Wisdom is closely linked to Eve in the creation stories, and Eve is portrayed as the mother of the living and a revealer of knowledge. Wisdom may also be linked to the Gnostic revealer, and wisdom may take part in the process of salvation. In the Gospel of John and other texts, the divine Logos, or Word, play a similar role. Such is also the case with Ruha, the Spirit, in Mandean texts, and perhaps Salmon, including Great Salmon and Lesser Salmon in the Islamic Mother of Books. As noted, the Demiurge, or creator of this world, is commonly distinguished from the transcendent deity. In Gnostic texts, the Demiurge is ignorant, tragic, megalomaniacal. In the secret book of John, he is depicted as the ugly child of Sophia, snake-like in appearance, with the face of a lion, eyes flashing like bolts of lightning. He is named Yaldabaoth, Sakla, Samael, and he is the chief Archon, and an arrogant, jealous god. In the Gospel of Judas, he is given another name, Nibro, said to mean rebel or rebel. In the Gospel of Truth, error behaves like the Demiurge, for it becomes strong and works in the world, but erroneously similar to are the actions of nature. In the paraphrase of Shem, Tahil, in Mandean literature, the five evil archons. In the Manichaean literature, Azazelil, and the mother of books, and Lucifer or Satan among the Cathars. The Gnostic revealers awaken people who are under the spell of the Demiurge. Within a Jewish context, the Gnostic revealer is Seth, the child of Adam and Eve, or Dedekes, probably Aramaic for male child, or the first thought, or the afterthought, or the wisdom of the divine. Within a Christian context, the revealer is Jesus, the anointed. Within the Manichaean context, Jesus of light, as well as others. More abstractly, the call to revelation and knowledge, the wake-up call, is a winged divine messenger. In the Song of the Pearl, instruction of the mind in Hermetic literature. In enlightened Manda Dehae, knowledge of life. In Mandaean literature, in other words, the call to knowledge is the dawning of awareness from within and without of what is and what was and what is to come. It is insight. It is gnosis. In Gnostic literature, those who come to knowledge are described in different ways. Occasionally, they are specifically called Gnostics. The Mandaeans are also called by the word that means Gnostics in Mandaic. More often, they are named the unshakable race, or the seed of, or offspring of Seth, or the generation without a king, or the elect or chosen, or, in the mother of books, the ones who know. With a mystical flourish, and Gospel of Philip recommends that rather than be called a Christian, the person with knowledge might be understood. Hold on. A person with knowledge might be understood to be at one with the Gnostic revealer, be called Christ. This recalls the Gospel of Thomas, saying 108, where Jesus says, "Whoever drinks from my mouth will become like me. I myself shall become that person, and the hidden things will be revealed to that one." Such people of knowledge know how to live profoundly and well in truth in light of God. And the Gospel of Truth concludes, "It is they who manifest themselves truly, since they are in that true and eternal life, and speak of the perfect light filled with the seed of the Father, which in his heart and in the fullness, while his spirit rejoices in it and glorifies him in whom it was, because the Father is good, and his children are perfect and worthy of his name, because he is the Father." Children of this kind are those whom he loves. So, there's that little bit of the introduction. We'll go back to the introduction again sometime. But I want to jump in and get to some of this meat. And we'll just do a small snippet or a small section. Okay, so this is a little bit textbook-y. Okay, let's just do this small little section here. Introduction, Marvin Meyer. In the beginning was wisdom. Hokama Sophia, one of the earliest forms of exalted expression in the world of the Mediterranean and Middle Eastern antiquity, was wisdom. Wisdom can be both the product of experience and the gift of the gods. Wisdom is that the father teaches the son, the parent the child, the sage the student. Through wisdom and knowledge, people learn how to speak and act among family and friends and foes in social encounters. in the political arena and on the street. The wisdom and knowledge people learn about the world and the ways of the world and how to cope with it. Through wisdom and knowledge, people address the ultimate questions. Why do the wicked prosper? And why do the good suffer? What is the end of human life? Is this all there is? Okay, so that's promising, right? Alright, so I'm going to take another little break real quick, and I will see you right after this next little break, and I will be bringing you the Lowell offering from the Millhouse Girls of New England of 1840. So, see you in a few. Okay, back again. So I came up with a little solution for not having to announce every single time. Well, what do I read every day? So I read something different every day. Somebody asked if I could just stick with one every single day, and sorry, no, I just can't do that. It I have problems focusing myself. This is how I cope with focusing, and how I'm able to plow through so many books is that I have a set specific books of what I'm going to read on that day, and this is how I go through, and this is how I cope with my own attention deficits. But I really do appreciate the feedback from the people that have been sending feedback. I really appreciate that. To my friend Missing Parts out there, thank you for all the support that you send. Me and husband, we love you so much, and thank you for everything that you do. Betty Davis Eyes, thank you for all of the encouragement that you always send. You're a rock, lady. I love you. Let's see who else out there. Patriot RN, thank you so much for the advice on the medical stuff. Thank you. It's very much appreciated. There's another person that sent an email. Dale, thank you. I will look into the magnesium thing. Thank you. I did not know that it was supposed to be able to help you sleep, which that is very interesting. But I had a few things that I don't think that it would be the right thing for me. So maybe if I had trouble with being with blockages and whatnot, that there would be troubles, but I don't have those troubles. So yes, thank you for the advice on the magnesium. Other friends, just I really appreciate you watching and taking the time out to listen, and hopefully, some of this is enlightening to all of you. Hopefully it'll help you sleep, if anything. If you're like me and you just need someone to drone on for a couple of hours, and you don't want to listen to nothing but non-stop plugging from people. So I will jump into the Lowell offering. Be right with you. Going to shift the screens again. Okay, I've been looking forward to reading this one to you guys. This is a very nice book. This was my last semester of that I took. I didn't do well in this class, but I really did enjoy this book. I wasn't able to really give it a proper review for the teacher just because, well, the teacher was the teacher. But if it had been just left to me reading these books and just writing a report or a review on them, I would have passed this class with flying colors. But so since I had to show up, every Tuesday, Thursday, and it was like the earliest class possible, I couldn't get up and I couldn't get dressed. I mean, it had progressed this bad. And it's worse now, but that's when I really started that things were going wrong, was when I was having to read this book. Oh, yes, updates on that. Hold on, wait, updates. Okay, update. On the 1st, I'm supposed to go for a CT scan. So, any nurse friends out there, can you tell me what the hell the difference is between CT scan, and tell me what the difference of fMRI is? And are they using the same dyes? Because I've had the fMRIs before, but I've not had a CT scan. So do they use the same dyes or not? And is there a difference? And if anybody can get back to me on that one, I really appreciate that. Before the 1st, please. Alright. Thank you. Okay. Now, back to the Lowell offering. Okay. Excited. I'm really excited for this book for you guys. And you're probably thinking, oh, how is she so excited about a book? It just can be. Okay. The Writings of New England Millwomen, 1840 to 1845. See, this newspaper, it only lasted 5 years, and it was from the girls that were actually working in the mills. We're going to get their stories. Okay, and the publisher is W.W. Norton and Company, New York, London. This was This was copyrighted in 1977. This edition was printed in 1998. It has a Ralph Waldo Emerson The children of New England between 1920 and 1840 were born with knives in their brains. Power loom weaving from George White's memoir of Samuel Slater, 1836, Merrimack Valley Textile Museum. Introduction. Industrial espionage implemented by prodigious feat of memory was the cornerstone of the American textile industry in the early 19th century. The genius who performed this conjuring trick was Francis Cabot Lowell, owner of the Boston Manufacturing Company cotton mill in Waltham, Massachusetts, the first total production factory in the United States, ancestor of a tribe of proper Bostonians. Lowell had not let himself be thwarted by propriety where potential profit was concerned. While a guest of English cotton manufacturers in 1810, the canny merchant inventor memorized the design of their new machinery, so jealously guarded by its owner that not a single model had been allowed to leave Britain. When Lowell returned home, he supervised the reinvention as one of his partners, Nathan Appleton, euphemistically termed it of the Cartwright power loom at the Waltham plant. The technological efficiency and high stockholder dividends of Lowell's total cotton mill, coupled with his untimely death in 1817, decided his partners on the most appropriate memorial expansion of their flourishing enterprise on a new site to be named Lowell in his honor. The Boston Associates, as they now christened their holding company, had learned of endless water power at the confluence of the Merrimack and Concord rivers, and the recently dug Pawtucket Canal. Here, in the town of East Chelmsford, Massachusetts, they incorporated the Merrimack Manufacturing Corporation in 1822, the first of 19 five-story mills capitalized and controlled by the same Boston group. Cloth label for Merrimack Power Loom jeans, in use probably ca. circa 1845-1860. Merrimack Valley Textile Museum. Incorporating more than Francis Lowell's system of total production, the new mills systemized innovations in social engineering that would have far-reaching consequences. The Boston Associates did not want their New Jerusalem tainted by an imported or newly created urban proletariat. The European mill wheels had spawned a race of Untermenschen, the subject of a rising chorus of reformers' protests, whose lives began with child labor and ended in paupers' graves. Nor did the founders of Lowell see much of an improvement on old world evils in the existing New England factories known as family mills, or the Rhode Island system, after Samuel Slater's cotton mill in Pawtucket. The handbills of these factories issued the sinister summons men with growing families wanted. These growing families with children 8 years old and up were the labor force in the first American textile mills, a system that had to be wrong since it was rarely profitable. And indeed, these mills failed with alarming regularity, though perhaps more often because of insufficient liquid capital than because of their employment practices. Instead, the Boston Associates resolved to create a labor force that would be a shining example of those ultimate Yankee ideals, profit and virtue. Doing good and doing well, this they accomplished for more than a generation by attracting a special class of temporary help. From the farms of Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine came robust young women lured by the highest wages offered to female employees anywhere in America, from $1.85 to $3 a week, depending on skill and speed. This seemingly generous scale represented considerable savings for the mill owners, since male mill workers were paid twice as much. Thus, by employing 75% women, the Lowell corporations could certainly claim low overhead. The average stay in the mills for the female employees was about 4 years, and the supply of new recruits was endless. They were, as their employees took every opportunity to boast, the most superior class of factory operative to be found in any industrialized nation, constituting what mill owner Nathan Appleton called a fund of labor, well-educated, voracious, and virtuous. Indeed, in Lowell, illiteracy was as rare as child labor. Not only had most mill girls completed common school, but a considerable number came from the dismally paid ranks of rural school teachers whose work was seasonal, as women were hired to teach school only in summer, the long winter session being reserved for men. On an annual basis, mill wages could yield 6 to 7 times more than the average yearly teaching salary for women. Domestic labor, the alternative for daughters of impoverished farmers, might pay 50 cents a week after room and board if the employers were generous. In any case, whether they were hired out or helping at home, these rural girls were accustomed not only to long hours of unpaid domestic labor on the family farm, but also to improving their minds through study. The thrifty magnates of Beacon Hill trumpeted the word that many of these paragons of the Protestant ethic, through hard work at the looms and Yankee self-denial, were helping to pay off the mortgage on the family farm, or to send a brother through college, or failing such selfless ends, saving for a dowry or for their own further education. Did not the Lowell Institution for Savings in 1833 report the astonishing sum of 100,000 representing deposits by mill girls, when divided by the 1,000 odd depositors, for whom individual amounts might mean the savings of several years? This information, admiringly noted by such distinguished visitors to Lowell as Charles Dickens and Harriet Martineau, is quantitatively less dramatic, but historically even more significant, the Boston Associates had established the existence of women as wage earners, an economic force to be reckoned with, and the phenomenon new to American society. In 1831, Patrick Jackson, one of the Lowell partners, hold on. We'll see what Patrick Jackson said in a minute. Here we go. Isn't she lovely? Fales and Jinks spinning frame from James Geldard, Handbook on the Cotton Manufacturer, 1867. Wood engraving, Lowell Museum Corporation. Okay. In 1831, Patrick Jackson, one of the Lowell partners, could boast to a tariff lobby group that no less than 39,000 females had employment in the cotton manufacture of the United States, earning wages amounting to upward of $4 million annually. The hard evidence was in. Daughters are now empathetically a blessing to the farmer, and not only to their farmers' fathers. Shops, businesses, and suppliers sprang up in the Lowell and other mill centers in the wake of this new consumer class, but it was Lowell, the Yankee El Dorado, whose idyllic beginnings summoned images of brand new, glittering promise and profit, and the sense everywhere of youth, one would swear. Marvel Dickens. So, let us leave off with what Dickens had to say, because you'll come to know me well that I don't like Charles Dickens. But we'll come back to more Lowell offering next time. I really enjoyed this, and I hope you really like this episode of Wicked Shizuku's Reviews. And you'll be able to find more of this on a Thursday when I upload on Thursday, or for a Thursday. So, I hope you enjoyed some Nomad Love and the Gnostic Bible and some ancient Greek Sophocles with me. And I will see you next time.